I gave you some statistics earlier. Let me share one more with you. If you're familiar with the Generation Y or millennial demographic, those are the people that were born between 1981 and 2000. They're becoming, in fact, the older members of that demographic are now part of our labor force, and the younger members, in the next 5 years, that demographic, they will comprise 50% of the employees within your company. That's a standard statistic. So, in fact, in the next 2 years, not necessarily the next 5 years. The reason I'm pointing that out is this demographic is identified as being very comfortable embracing emerging technology. So, again, they have that expectation that that should be what they're doing at home, what they're familiar with on a daily basis. They should be able to get that same experience at work. So not only are they comfortable embracing technology, they're looking for collaboration tools and looking for a work environment that's providing that, because that's what they're looking for and that's what they expect. So what's the value beside that? What's the value to your organization with MyIT? Well, one area that we can help with is deflecting what we would term the routine level 1 calls into the service desk. What that's going to do, or the value is obviously that's going to cut your calls into the help desk. In fact, we have some customers that have rolled this out, and they've reduced their level 1 calls to the service desk by 33%. What does that mean to me? Well, what it comes down to is that if I'm reducing those types of calls into the service desk, those calls that do come in, I can spend more time with that individual. Because I can spend more time, drive up that first call resolution rate, and if I'm able to resolve that issue for the customer while they're on the phone, obviously we're driving up the quality of service and the customer satisfaction rate that we're judged on. The other thing is what we're doing here with the MyIT technology that you're seeing this afternoon is that we're reducing what's termed within the industry IT friction. So there's statistics out there. In fact, we've published a white paper by Forrester that many employees lose up to 2 days or 18 hours a month on IT-related issues. So that's productivity that's lost trying to get things fixed or requesting new things. So what we could do is cut that waste in half with MyIT and return, as an example, 1 day a month of productivity to your employees. What we're also doing is freeing your staff and the budget for what we term IT transformation projects. So what does that mean? Is that if I'm having more issues being able to resolve by level 1 or through self-service, those people that normally get pulled down into answering those requests or doing break-fix, I'm working more on keeping the lights on rather than working on those high-value projects, either to the IT organization to roll out internally, or maybe some additional services that we can publish, if you will, externally to provide additional profit to the organization. And I mentioned before, let's face it, those of you who are in IT organizations, whether you know it or not, the CIOs are constantly being told by consulting organizations that we can do things better and faster than your existing IT organization. So what we're doing is helping in that space is boosting that customer satisfaction so that CIO can say to that outsourcing company, you know what, we're providing a great service to the business. They rate us very high in customer satisfaction. So you know what? I think we're fine in that area. We don't really need to do that. So that's through providing what we would term modern self-service tools to allow when employees interact with IT that the whole experience is very good. And at that point, when we're reducing the friction of IT with our customers, both within the IT organization, but also our business employees, they view us as a partner rather than friction or an impetus to getting our work done. So what I'd like to do is turn the this portion back over to Dick for additional comments and to take us to the next step. Dick?
All right. Thank you. Hey, great job, Jim and Dale. And I got a question for you, but right now I just want to let people know now would be a good time if you want to use the Q&A window to ask a question. Just go ahead and ask it, and we'll answer it. I wanted to just start out though, because we've talked about MyIT to customers and prospects, and a lot of them will say, well, gee, I'm still in the middle. I'm trying to get change to be fully integrated with configuration management. I don't really want to take on a new project like this. But they don't really get it, do they? I mean, because if you start with something as simple as MyIT, then that'll free up a lot of time where they could get to the more complex projects later, right? Is that kind of what you guys think? I mean, it seems to me like you ought to start with MyIT right now. That should be the first thing you should do.
Yeah, that's been our experience, Dick. I'll respond first, and if Jim has anything to add, I'd be happy to hear that as well. But what we're finding is that MyIT is, I'm sure most of the audience has seen, is that's designed, the application was designed to be very similar to their user experience at home in the evening. So the adoption rate is very quick. So the idea behind that is that that experience that they're used to being to go to a app store, as an example, downloading the app and begin using it, rather than compared to how we used to roll out applications to say, well, my gosh, we have to train a bunch of our users before they can even begin using this application. So I would claim with the way we've designed this application, it can be adopted rather quickly. Jim, do you have any additional comments?
No, I think that covers it.
Okay, thank you.
I've got another question. I have to ask this question because I really love the GPS-enabled functionality that the product offers. It would seem to me, obviously, the application knows where you are, right? So let's say that you decided that you wanted to go ahead and roll out MyIT, but maybe you'd use it to track where everybody was. So if Joe was supposed to be at a meeting, or maybe he was supposed to be at a training session, and if you look at MyIT and you see he's out playing golf, then maybe you ought to do something about that. Is there any thought around that?
Well, I don't think from that perspective. I think it's more the inverse, where you're using the location information to get information specific to the facility that they're at. So, for example, one of my other customers used this by their corporate real estate team. They saw use cases around MyIT. They wanted to say the experience that you have at one office may be different from another office. So how you request a security badge is different from one office to another. How you request services such as, reserve a conference room or interact with facilities is different from one office to another. So what they were doing is, by having the location-aware information, we're able to offer you the expectation and the experience that you have at your home office anywhere else. So whether you're at headquarters or you're at a remote site, the services are aligned to where you are, so that it makes it easier for you to interact with the service desk. So you don't have to guess, hey, how am I going to get help from somebody when I'm somewhere else? And that's a big driver behind the location-aware information, is that, A, we could tell you what's nearby, B, we can, and we didn't show it in this demo, but we can give you driving directions. So, for example, if you landed in Houston and you were heading to the Executive Briefing Center, you bring up MyIT, you click on the Briefing Center, and you click on the directions icon, and off you go. The map program on your device will navigate you to the office. That's how we're using the location information. You would have to log in as a user to actually see where a user was, to see them on the map, because you don't see other users. You see facilities that are available to you.
Okay, thank you. I was being a little bit facetious there, so it's good to know that I don't have to worry, so I can get out on the golf course if I want and not have to worry about being tracked down. Okay. Go through. There's some questions that have come in now, so let's return to those questions here. The first one is multi-tenancy supported? And I guess, does that mean then that you could have multiple back ends? Is that what the question means?
I think what what they're asking is for multi-tenancy. So we can do it from a couple of perspectives, right? Is the requestable services that you're seeing within the user interface that Jim was showing earlier, that would be set up based upon who they are, what their location is, etc. Very similar to knowledge articles. It would be knowledge articles specific to, I wouldn't use the term entitlement, but what articles are they, what are they visibility to? So that's how I would answer that is, from a requestable service perspective, it'd be set on entitlement. Who are they? Where are they located? What groups do they belong to, etc. Knowledge articles would be more on what visibility is assigned to that knowledge article to show knowledge only based on what the visibility is set at.
I see. So it really depends on who you are, and then you get access to specific resources then.
Correct. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
Got it. Okay. Next question is go ahead.
I'm looking at the questions too. I just wanted to jump to a question, but we can go down the list. That's fine.
Okay. Well, the next question, if you say it, is the knowledge portion of the MyIT Knowledge Center support certified?
Yes. In fact, we are KCS certified. So what that means is that we are following the recommended best practices on knowledge management creation and overall lifecycle management of the knowledge article.
Okay, that was an easy one. Next up is, I understand MyIT replaces the SRM interface. Given this, is there an end of life for SRM? So I know you guys know the answer to that one.
Yeah, the answer is there hasn't been a formal announcement of the end of life of service request management, because obviously we have some customers that are currently using service request management and very happy with it. What this is let's call it taking the user interface to the next level, where it would be leveraging the service request management application, so it'd not be throwing that out, if you will. It would be sitting on top of the service request management customer's application and then consuming the requestable services.
Okay. Next question up here is, what government entities are using MyIT? We've been involved with one or two. I think Department of Transportation was one that comes to mind. Do you all have any other ideas or any other government entities?
Not off the top of my head right now.
Okay. Oops. Next question is, what does the admin interface used to configure and maintain MyIT look like?
Well, what I would say is it looks somewhat similar to the MyIT experience that you saw earlier. It's very simple to configure, quite frankly. And we do provide, BMC does provide, as you're familiar with our other products, that we do provide formal training to get you up and running right away on administering the MyIT application.
Right, and it's pretty simple, isn't it? I mean, it doesn't take a huge amount of time to configure and get this up and running.
No, right, and we do provide formal certification as well to be, in fact, I went through the formal training to become a certified administrator. But yes, compared to other applications, I'd say, using your term, Dick, I'd call it relatively simple to use.